Hey guys, welcome to The Bald Truth and obviously the live surgical broadcast of this is, I guess, Nalts' second hair transplant surgery with Dr. Alan Bauman. And he is kind enough to allow us into the operating room to kind of check things out, speak to him, ask questions about why he's decided to have a second surgery and, you know, how the whole process is going. Let's say hi to the guys. Nalts, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Let me turn on my mic. Is my mic on?
It's on. It's
Oh,
on.
hello. Hello, Spencer. We are live from Florida.
It's great to see you, man. Guys, if you were just tuning in, I'm actually in Los Angeles in my studio. Andrew Zarian is live in New York. And Dr. B and Nalts obviously are in Florida. So it's
and we've got our Dubai correspondent, Zoe, waiting, ready for her report.
So what's going on now? Dr. Bauman, what are you doing to Nalts?
Well, what we've done so far is we've done some extracting from the back of the scalp to get the follicles that we need for implantation. His local anesthetic is in place all the way around the scalp, so it's been very comfortable for him in the donor area, and we're getting ready to start work in the recipient zone. I'm going to start to make the sites in and around his existing hair and between the previous transplants, and move everything forward, get everything going.
Why don't you explain the technology that you're using to everybody? I know it's a follicular unit extraction transplant. You're using a neograft. Maybe you can explain that a little bit.
Sure. So FUE, follicular unit extraction, is the removal of individual hair follicles or groups of hair follicles, only ones, twos, and threes, from the donor area, which is the back of the scalp, without having to cut with a scalpel, without having to make a long incision, and without any kind of stitches or staples. And that process eliminates the need or eliminates the linear scar that is typically left behind from the older style transplants that we used to do.
So now, obviously, you've converted the majority of your practice now is FUE hair transplants. Are you still doing strip at all?
I still do some strips. You know, we did about 6,000 strip surgeries. We still do it about 10% of the time. Mostly it's on patients who have had previous transplants with a strip harvest, who either wear long hair or didn't mind the process or could take the time off from athletic activity to recover.
So at this point, obviously, you converted your practice for a reason. Do you think that follicular unit extraction is really the superior procedure for the vast majority of candidates?
Well, it wasn't really a conversion, as much as evolution.
Well
I think
said.
Patients don't want to have a strip scar, certainly, if they can avoid it. They certainly don't want a strip scar if they can avoid it. And if we can do something that's less invasive, less painful, that heals more quickly and gets the same kind of results or better, then hey, that's good.
No,
So
listen, I certainly agree. A lot of the guys that contact us now, especially with all of the information about follicular unit extraction online and that we're putting out there through The Bald Truth, there's guys that would not have had surgery. They would never have considered traditional strip harvesting. And now they're considering having a hair transplant because the technology has evolved to a degree that it really is extremely consistent in the right hands. The problem that we're seeing, obviously, and the issues as well, is that some of these devices, whether it's a neograft or some other devices that are out there, are getting into the hands of cosmetic surgeons who may never have even performed a hair transplant before. And it's kind of being marketed as this new high-tech technology where, in fact it is, but a hair transplant is still, at least the results of a hair transplant is still based on the skill and the dedication and just, the team effort of the hair transplant facility. And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, Spencer, I would hope that hair loss patients aren't out there choosing their surgeon based on the scalpel or tool that they use. Certainly the neograft has been a help for me to be able to extract a higher number of grafts per day and a more accurate method than the old manual instruments. Look, I designed the manual instrument back in 2002, and I'll be the first to tell you it was not easy to use. Neograft makes it easier, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the hair transplant is simple. We've got to create something that looks normal and natural for Nalts and for every patient that comes through the door, and that's not what the neograft does. The hair transplant's I like to say it's a symphony of detail, and the neograft helps us fill up the cans of paint, but we still got to put the paint on the canvas.
Right, and that's well said. And sadly, a lot of people still don't get that because these companies are marketing these devices as, like I said, this new technology, this cutting-edge technology that almost performs the entire hair transplant by itself. And that is not the case. And that's what we're trying to get across to our listeners and our viewers, that, the NeoGraft is a great device in the right hands, and so are some of these other newer devices that are coming out now and that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Now, Nalts, tell me, how's the day going for you so far?
It's great. I mean, it's been pain-free. It's a question I've been getting a lot over the YouTube comments. And, yeah, I mean, I've just been hanging out. It's like getting a haircut. And I have to say, Spencer, to your earlier point about a guy, considering a hair loss, considering a hair transplant, and being a little bit reluctant until FUE, I was one of those. I mean, when I saw posters at IHSRS of donor scars and strips, I was like literally a little queasy. But right. FUE, and in the hands of somebody that knows how to use it, is totally benign. I mean, I've been sitting here watching TV and talking to other people, and it feels like maybe somebody's tinkering with the top of a helmet. I don't feel a bit of it. So,
right. And listen, it's a much less invasive procedure. There's no doubt about it. And if it's done by, a great team like Dr. Bauman's team, then you're going to get a great result. The issue is, and I get, contacted by people who've had procedures. Hold on for 1 second. I don't know what that is. Who have had procedures.
That's called New York City.
Guys who have just gotten a NeoGraft or have just gotten another type of device. And, sadly, the procedures didn't turn out that well because they had a staff that came in that may be working on a per diem basis, and that really the doctor involved had no true aesthetics when it comes to surgical hair restoration or experience. So I'm just glad that we have the opportunity to do this, to get this information out to the public in a big way, the way that we're doing it right now, but also to let them know, you know what, the technology is there, but you have to pick the right team. And that is key.
It's like a camera, Spencer. I mean, a beautiful camera in the hands of somebody that doesn't know how to use it is not going to develop, good pictures.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, guys, we have a phone call if you want to take it. See who this is?
Sure.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Oh, man, Joe.
Joe,
how are you, man?
Staten Island.
Joe.
My good friend, Dr. Bauman, I happen to be watching this live, but I have no sound, unfortunately, but I am watching live. I'm overwhelmed with the handsome gentleman I'm seeing this afternoon.
Well, that's very nice. You're talking about Nalts and Dr. Bauman, I'm sure.
Yes, and Andrew and you, of course.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That made my day.
Let me play Joe's opening for everybody.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
My name is excuse me. My name is
Would you like to may reiterate it?
My name is
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
Hey, Joe, how are you? I had a little rocky start today. I'm a little tired. I went out.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You tell your story.
I am dissecting your face right now. You do seem slightly run down.
Well, that's very nice of you. I appreciate that. That's.
Well, did you staff apply proper makeup before going on camera, man?
No, I don't wear makeup. But now I'm going to feel great for the entire broadcast. Thank you for that, Joe.
No, I'm just. We're special guest today, Vincent.
Hey, Vincent. Suffer. How are you, man? That's Joe's kid. He's a sufferer, too.
Did he just yell, "I'm a sufferer," or you guys are sufferers?
No, he said, "I'm a sufferer."
Oh, that's so sad.
Yes, say it again.
My dad has extensions.
You should have extensions. Yeah, okay.
All right, so what's going on? You have any questions for Nalts and Dr. Bauman?
Yes, first of all, how is Mr. Nalts feeling at this point?
You know what? I've got knives coming into the top of my scalp, but I might as well be getting a head massage.
Oh. Well, I do hope that the great Dr. Bauman did administer you some sedation, either orally or intravenous.
I am Novocaine and well sedated and, well taken care of. And free cookies, so there's another perk.
Joe, so what do you think about this, man? This is the first live hair transplant on YouTube. We've done live events before, but this is the first one that's actually out there on YouTube, which is pretty amazing.
You see, Spencer, you see YouTube called it out on YouTube on YouTube.com /live. They had it featured as one of the upcoming shows.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah.
It actually looks amazing. I'm actually blown away at the picture quality on YouTube Live. Looks great.
All right. That's thanks to our fine camera crew here.
I think that's due to our crew.
Yeah, and I hope it's not such good resolution that you can see the see my wrinkles.
We see everything. Look at that. Look at that zoom in.
Apparently, my resolution is so great that
Barbara
Joe can see mine.
Streisand look, with the netting.
Now, may I ask approximately how many grafts will Mr. Nalts be receiving?
It's what's the same one we used
How
for
many?
Discovery?
How many? What, Joe?
How many grafts, Dr. Bauman?
Oh, yeah, good question. How many are we going for today, Dr. B?
Well, I think we're going to be around 1,500 or so, but we won't know until I'm done with all of the sites.
The last one, Joe, if it interests you, was 1,960, which I calculated to be equal to 15 eyebrows.
Well, I am very familiar with your prior hair transplant. So right now you've accumulated approximately 3,400 grafts after today. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Don't make the guy do math. He's sitting in a chair having an operation.
Well, what is Dr.
I wasn't aware
Bauman
that was getting
estimate
math.
Let me have two questions. I know you have the callers. What does Dr. Bauman estimate his donor reserve will be for the future, anything possibly in the future?
Well, actually, Nalt's got plenty of donor hair available for transplantation, and most of our patients have about 8,000 to 10,000 grafts available with the FUE approach. And he's still not going to need that, especially if he stays on his medical regimen.
I got to be more loyal on the Propecia. Joe, I used to be product director of Propecia, so it's no excuse that I ended up not being so persistent over the past 6 months or a year.
Now, what happened? Why did you stop taking it?
I don't know. It's like any med. You just start to forget. But I'm resolved.
Are you forgot, or is it because of all the hoopla about the persistent side effects?
Yeah, I think that might have played subconsciously into it. And then I just ran out and didn't pursue renewing it. But having now looked at my pictures and everything, and I'm so grateful to have 2 really good hair transplants. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to have that circle in the middle of the head, where the hair continues to recess.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a big mistake for guys who, especially who've been on it without any adverse side effects, to stop taking it out of fear of something that we really don't know is happening. You know what I mean, Dr. Bauman? We still don't have any proof positive that, there are guys out there that, and listen, I am not saying that they're not suffering, but there are guys out there that are claiming permanent adverse side effects, sexual side effects from the use of Propecia. But there are guys who have taken like 1 or 2 tablets and then suffer the side effects, and then they're claiming that these side effects are permanent. In your practice, have you seen any of this?
I think I might have told you that if you look at the PI of Propecia, more people dropped out of the clinical trial for sexual side effects. More people dropped off that were taking the placebo than were actually taking Propecia.
Right. I know. And I try to get that through the heads of the guys that are calling the program, that are writing us through the American Hair Loss Association or through the Bald Truth or through Bald Truth Talk. And it's just, once it's put into these kids' heads, they think they're going to have sexual side effects. It happens. Of course it happens. That's just the way the mind works.
What percentage do you actually think are having adverse reactions, such as sexual or just it's not working for them? What's the percentage of it?
The problem is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if I told you that, Golden Grams, cereal gave you sexual side effects, you'd see, 20, 30% of the people eating Golden Grams cereal are getting sexual side effects. We're very impressionable.
It's very difficult to say it's the Propecia. You're absolutely right in that sense. If I think I'm going to, I'm going to have sexual side effects, adverse sexual side effects from the medication, the odds are, since it's so psychological, I will eventually.
But if it happens once to you, it doesn't matter if you're 18 years old, not on medication. It's probably going to happen again because you're going to be thinking about it.
Listen, who knows? So maybe the guy's going and getting
pops
boosted
in, starts to work, and you're thinking about not being able to get an erection. It's going to happen, or it's not going to happen, I should say. That's just the way that it works.
One second. When I was ingesting Propecia for over 2 years, it gave me a perpetual erection, to be honest with you.
Oh, Jesus.
I think you need a new theme song.
Hey, Spencer, there was a news report that hair transplantation and Propecia actually boost sex drive. Did you see that come across your Twitter feed there?
I actually did. And I have to tell you that I think just by the added confidence, A, knowing that you're taking control of the situation by taking medication to stop the progression of your hair loss, and B, if you decide to have surgical hair restoration and you're regaining that confidence with the newly created hairline, of course you're going to be more, sexually interested. You're going to have less depression. You're going to be more confident. So that makes total sense to me.
I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, and I see this hairline, and I want to have sex with the mirror.
Yeah, I know how you feel, man.
It's fun, sir. Believe me, it's fun. I've done it.
Let me give out the phone number. I want you guys and all the guys who are hanging out in the chat room. We appreciate you chatting, but why don't you give Nalts a call? 888-659-3727, international toll-free number, 888-659-3727. If you're just tuning in, we are doing a live hair transplant event with Kevin Nolte, Dr. Alan Bauman in Boca Raton, Florida, and of course, my co-host for today's events, Andrew Zarian, founder of the GFQ Network, and we got Joe from Staten Island on the line. Now, I'm going to take another.
I'm a co-host now.
Yeah, you can be. I'll tell you what. I'm going to take another phone call, and I'll see if I can keep you potted up, Joe. All right?
Well, I just had one final question, if you don't mind.
Jesus, it's never ending with you. Okay.
Will Dr. Bauman be incorporating topical Latisse to Mr. Nalts' regimen?
Well, we haven't discussed Latisse for Kevin yet. Most of my Latisse patients are those that have had difficulty with minoxidil. So usually we go with the FDA-approved medications first before we start going down the list to other options. I do have some patients who are on the medication, male and female, who've done very well with it. They've seen some improvement in their hair quality. But usually that comes up at a time when we've already tried what we call the tried and true. So it wouldn't be a first thing that we pull out of our bag there, not the first thing that we pull out of our hat, so to speak, but something that if you had a reaction to minoxidil, or you wanted something that would maybe you only have to use once a day as a topical on the scalp, then we would go to the Latisse. So.
And Joe, you just scared away three callers.
We should mention that it's not FDA approved yet, that there are clinical trials underway, and we'll just have to wait and see what the right dose is, and if they're able to accomplish, Allergan can accomplish the FDA clearance, the approval.
Well, I would bet the farm on that. Believe me, they will be getting approval, and they will be selling billions of dollars worth of it.
All right, let me give out the phone, Joe. Let me give out the phone number. I hate to interrupt you.
I'm sorry.
I hate to interrupt you. 888-659-3727 is the phone number. You can call back now, all you guys who are holding on. And I was about to take a call, and Joe needed to ask that question.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. Joe, where's Vincent? Is he still with you?
Yes, he is.
Now, is he watching the broadcast?
Why is he not in school?
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to ask that, but that's a good question.
Well, actually, I kept him home to watch his broadcast.
No, you didn't, Joe. Come on, leave that kid alone, man.
No, I thought I'd introduce him to something so he sees what his future may potentially hold.
This poor kid is going to start naring his head.
No, this kid walks around with a minoxidil bottle full of water. He calls himself a sufferer.
Oh my God,
Joe! I mean, this is abuse. Anyway, let's take a phone call. Let's take a phone call.
Just kidding.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
He's off. Just kidding.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
That's so cool.
Hello.
That is awesome.
All right, I'm gonna hang up on you. One more chance. You're on the air.
Hey, does that hurt at all?
Go ahead, caller.
My amazing AV team has all of our camera angles potted up on our large screen TV in the operatory.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool.
So the caller just called and asked if that hurt at all, and then he hung up.
What do you say? If you heard it all?
If that hurt, he asked Nalts
Oh,
if that
no.
hurt.
Or does it hurt? Probably wants to know if it hurts.
No, you know what? I get that question a lot during and afterwards, and before I tell people I'm going to. It is absolutely pain-free. The biggest pain was getting my blood drawn, and after that, it's totally pain-free. I mean, my entire scalp is what is it?
Completely
Novocaine.
numb.
Completely numb. And I've gotten oral medication so that I just don't feel any pain.
I actually have a question.
I'm in more pain in a day's work than I am here.
Tell me about it.
Oh, is that the monitor? Look at that.
Yeah, this is our high-tech control room. We are.
It's like NASA.
Yeah. It's like I feel like I'm in a television studio that happens to have a surgical area.
I actually have a question. I know this is not your first procedure. This is the second procedure, correct?
Yeah, second one.
What was it like going in psychologically for you? Going in for the first procedure and now for the second one. How do they? How are they different for you psychologically? How do you prep for it?
You know, the first one I didn't know what I was getting into, and I was concerned that there might be some pain. But the second one is like, just checking in for a day. I'm getting ready to go to a wedding in a couple days, so I'm going to be back on my feet. I know I don't have to worry about any type of recovery pain. So this has been easy peasy lemon squeezy. The first time you don't know what you're getting into, but the second time you know what to expect. What phases you're going through. And it's actually kind of fun.
As a public figure, I mean, you are on YouTube. Many people know you based on your videos. You've written a book. What has the perception been of your fans and just people on the internet? Has it been supportive? Have people told you you're crazy for doing this? What has that been like?
I thought maybe I'd have a little bit of a backlash of people saying, "Oh, you're being vain," or why are you prioritizing this? For the most part, I haven't gotten that at all. I've been really pleasantly surprised. I mean, I thought, because very few people that get hair transplants are out in the open about it. And I find that discouraging because I know that many movie stars have good hair transplants. And if people knew how good they are, then they'd want to get one. But unfortunately, the only hair transplant you're aware of are the bad ones. So I was really looking forward to destigmatizing that. And I found that the people that watch my videos have taken really nicely to it. They joke about it, but if you look at old videos of me and videos today, it is remarkably different. If you search hair transplant fun and you look at my hair when we took those pre-op photos, it is remarkably different than where I am today.
Yeah, we just put the before and after photos together this morning, actually. And so maybe during one of the bathroom breaks, we'll send those over to you. You can show the folks, what kind of results he's had so far with the procedure. I mean, really, what we're doing today is a little densification down the middle zone, but the hairline has been reestablished, and you'll see the coverage improve and the frame of the face improve on those before and after photos, right? That's what people are noticing on your videos.
Yeah, Spencer, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is densification really a word?
It's not, and I didn't want to say anything. But
oh man, well, what would you say instead? I use that all the time.
I call my whole do like I'm trying to densify.
Yeah.
My hair with the crazy makeup and hairspray. That's what I deal with. It's interesting that you said that actors and people, public figures, don't admit what they're doing to try to maintain a full-looking head of hair. I mean, that's how I built my career.
Well, it's not just hair, Spence. I think there's a strange thing going on, and I think what Nalts is doing is amazing because he's opening up and he's showing people that it's acceptable. You shouldn't be ashamed if you get a procedure done. It's totally normal that you came
out to talk about your penile enlargement, right? Which I thought was very brave.
I did. I spoke about it and I said it didn't work at all.
Yeah, I thought that was very brave.
It actually reversed the entire process. It was awful. I have a whole blog.
I heard that could happen.
Yeah, and I have before and after pictures as well. I guess I'll put it up during the break. But if you look at a lot of women in Hollywood get plastic surgery, and it's totally acceptable to get a facelift, Botox, breast enlargement, but it's still looked at as a strange thing for a guy to go and get.
Women, you won't see a woman on the street past the age of 14 that doesn't have a full face of makeup or a push-up bra or a fake tan. When we meet a woman for the first time, we're out in a bar, whatever it is, that's not what they really look like. But if we try to do something to improve our appearance, oh my God, this guy's vain. So there's definitely a double standard. Forget about surgery.
I'm all for the guy that decides, they're going to shave their head and they're going to be comfortable with hair loss. But more often than not, people are stuck between two poles. On one side, they know that hair loss is hurting them, either in meeting women or in rising up in a job or whatever, self-esteem. But on the other pole is, to go get a hair transplant, they see as either vain or, variety of other reasons that they're not going to get a transplant. So they're stuck. They're stuck in the middle.
They are stuck. And the bottom line is they're unhappy. They won't admit the fact that, feeling less than their most being, the most attractive they can be makes them a little, less happy in life. Guys it's really difficult for them to admit that. I'm still reeling after Joe said I looked a little tired today. Still affected. I may have to take a break.
Yeah, but Spencer, he was actually looking at the video of us down here and was a little confused. Yeah.
Let me give out the phone number. Guys, call in, speak to Nalts. If you're considering surgical hair restoration, I think this is a great opportunity for you guys to speak to really, one of the best doctors in the field. He's one of less than 60 doctors accepted into the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons and recommended by the American Hair Loss Association. Big friend of the Bald Truth for many years. And I just think, if you have any questions or concerns about your hair loss, considering surgical intervention, it's a great opportunity to speak to the man directly. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. 888-659-3727. I'll take your calls in a second. Got some lights that just lit up. Andrew, you are a guy that you're a kid, basically.
Yeah, 27.
27 years old. You have the head of hair of a god, and you will contact me at 3 o'clock in the morning, turn your Skype on, and panic that you think your hairline is receding.
Oh, no, 100%. I do this about twice a month. I pretty much twice a month, 3 o'clock in the morning my time, I'll come down, I'll make sure the feeds are working, the studio is fine, and I'll see Spencer still online, and I'll say, you know what, let me just double check. Let me just make sure everything is fine. No, it's a tough thing.
I'm trying to tell him, Dr. B, that he has a little bit of a maturing hairline, but he's 27. He wants the hairline that he had when he was 18. He still has a full, thick, dense head of hair, and he's in a panic. And I think it's because he got involved with the program personally.
Well, that could be. Oh, does he have hair loss in the family? Andrew, your dad and grandparents, have they experienced hair loss?
My grandparent, on my mother's side, my grandfather's totally bald. My father's side, all his uncles and cousins have, just crazy, crazy hair.
Well, you do have a little hair loss in the family. Did anyone ever do a genetic test for you to see if you carry the gene?
No, I've never done it. And actually,
Don't do it.
I know. We were thinking about doing it. Spencer, how long ago were we thinking about doing it?
We were going to do it as a bit.
About a year ago.
Yeah, as a bit, and I was going to do it, and I got an overwhelming response of emails. If I told you every time I spoke about it, I would call into the Bald Truth, or I would speak about it on my show. Maybe 20, 30 emails telling me, do not do it. It's going to ruin your life. You're gonna be just waiting for Armageddon to happen. You're just going every day.
I think there's something to be said for that. And just to let everybody know, we're talking about the Hair DX test that actually tests for the possibility of genetic hair loss. And I guess it's significant hair loss by what? By the age of 40, Dr. Bauman?
Correct.
I should know that actually because I'm actually on the advisory board of Hair DX, so I have to give full disclosure.
And you told me don't do it.
I said, knowing you because of the type of personality you have and the fact that you are really wrapped up in your looks, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way that it is.
I'm not wrapped up
living
in
off
my
your
looks
looks to some degree. I think it would really affect you. You told me that you would go off the air if you found out you were losing
Listen,
your hair.
I have nothing else to live off of.
The
college education is not doing me
risk. Why wouldn't you just go on a preventative treatment?
I actually, maybe I told Dr. Bauman this when I called in I think when he called into your show. I went on I had a back injury, and I went on medication for my back. It was like a nerve blocker, and within a couple of months of taking it, I started noticing thinning in the front of my hair. I asked the doctor. Doctor goes, no, it's not a side effect. I looked it up, and people say, I think it's like 1 in every 100 people, or 1 in every 1,000 people can suffer from hair loss from the medication. But once you stop the medication, it'll start coming back. As a preventive measure, I did go on Propecia for about a month. I know it's a very short period of time to see any kind of results, but as soon as I stopped the medication, my hair started coming back within a month or two. So I'm all for it. Spencer's telling me don't do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm telling you, I know how you are. You know, for the short period of time that I've known you, the last year and a half, whatever it is, and that we've been working together, you have asked me about your appearance no less than 1,000 times.
Well, I think it's a thing that many men. Here's the thing. I think every guy thinks about it. Every guy does not have Spencer
People
Kobren.
ask another guy if I look fat in these jeans.
No, it's not. But here's the thing. Not every guy has Spencer Kobren available at 3 o'clock in the morning to call and say, hey, how's my hair? What can I do? If I had Dr. Bauman's phone number, Dr. Bauman, I'd be calling you 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but now you do.
Now I do. So you're going to be getting phone calls from me 4 o'clock in the morning.
Give out my phone number. No problem.
Yeah, Nalts is going to be getting calls from me too.
Let me give you Dr. Bauman's home phone number.
But I mean, this is a thing that many men are scared of. I mean, and a lot of guys could pull off that shaved head look. I just can't. My head just looks like
I would look like some guy from the future, man. I could not do it.
Well,
my head looks like a deformed penis, so I'm not going to have much luck.
I've got an interesting compromise that you maybe should think about.
Sure.
Okay, here, I got a thought for you. One of the things that we've been doing with our medical patients, meaning that the patients who are not undergoing surgery, is that we've been measuring cross-sectional bundles of hair. And there's a specific device developed by a local surgeon down here in Florida, Bernie Cohen, who's an esteemed member of the International Society of Hair Restoration Surgery. And he developed this device. Basically, you mark off a 2 by 2 centimeter area on the scalp. We measure it specifically from the bridge of the nose. We can go back to that area again and again, and we measure it. And we can tell if there's been a change in hair density, and we can tell if there's been a change in hair caliber. And very, very subtle changes over time are picked up by this measurement tool. So a lot of our patients who are on minoxidil or who are on Propecia or using laser therapy, like with the laser cap, they come back every 90 days to be monitored to see their improvements over time. And so this kind of technology can be used to track whether you are actually losing hair or not.
But Doc, you're dealing with normal people for the most part. You know, you're not dealing with a guy who, honestly, I mean, listen, I love Andrew. He's a great guy. What he does, he's the best at what he does. But he is not equipped to deal with the idea of that he's possibly losing his hair.
Spencer, what's that? Be neurotic? I'm the best at that?
You are the best at being neurotic. I thought I was the best until I met you.
But what if you denied it and it actually happened?
I'm sorry, Dr. Bauman, what was that?
I was just saying, well, what if what if you've been denying it and it is actually happening? Wouldn't you want to be able to do something about
Absolutely.
it? I mean, you have the hair available?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if Dr. Bauman has seen my hair. I don't know if he can see the feed, but I've always thought, well, if I could go on any kind of preventative measure now, when I'm not seeing significant loss of my hair, I'm just seeing some sort of receding hairline, maturing hairline, like Spencer put it, I would go on some sort of medication for it, just to save it for the future. I mean, if I start now, would it help me later on when I'm 40 years old?
Dude, I'm 46. I've been on this medication for 17 years. And I would tell you that the progression has been extremely slow. I definitely have to wear a little more paint in the back than I used to. But for the most part, I mean, I started to lose my hair when I was 21 years old. I went into a panic. It was a frenzy. I was going to every doctor selling every lotion and potion, every hair transplant surgeon at the time, and I'm so lucky that I had the wherewithal to step back and say, I shouldn't do this yet. I went to the hair club, and they wanted to basically shave my hair off and put a wig on me. So I understand that panic. I understand the importance of early intervention. I just am concerned about, your emotional status. And at this point, from what you're showing me, it doesn't look like there's any miniaturization happening. But, maybe you should get the test, maybe you should, maybe fly down to Boca and have Dr. Bauman check you out, and he'll be honest with you.
Yeah, we could do a whole live thing.
We'll do a live thing, yeah.
Okay.
The ADX is going to show that he has the gene, but that doesn't mean that it'll express itself. Andrew has to consider that.
Yeah, Dr. Bauman, how about that? What if it does show that I have the gene, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I will lose my hair?
Well, that's true, but if we know that you're at risk, then we would proceed with those measurements or maybe some particular photography that would track what's going on with your hair over time so that we can make an informed decision of whether or not you want to prevent the process. Just to remind your viewers there, we're watching a live hair transplant.
Absolutely. We, guys who are just tuning in, we're not just here BSing. We're actually, the guy in the chair is Kevin Nalts, YouTube celebrity, viral video genius, and recipient of his second hair transplant from Dr. Alan Bauman in Boca Raton, Florida. And we are doing kind of a live surgical event, just answering questions, taking phone calls, 888-659-3727, talking about anything and everything hair loss. And this is a subject that, look, hair loss affects 2/3 of guys by the age of 35. 40% of hair loss sufferers are women, and we still can't talk about it. It's insane. And the reason why this is an approximate $3.5 billion a year industry, and the vast majority of products and services that are being sold are crap, don't work, is, in my opinion, because we are unwilling, most guys are unwilling to talk about this, share their experiences, and really that's what this broadcast is about. This is what the Bald Truth is about, and this is why I've been doing this broadcast on air and online for, God, it's going on 14 years, Dr. B.
Wow.
And we're excited that this is really our first live broadcast on YouTube. And we want to thank Nalts and obviously Dr. Bauman for allowing us into the surgical suite and allowing us to make this happen, because I think a lot of people are going to be helped by watching this, and this gives them an opportunity to ask questions. So I'm going to give out the phone number again: 888-659-3727. Co-host today, of course, the king of new media, Andrew Zarian.
According to Stepping Out magazine.
According to Stepping Out magazine, which you were on the cover of Stepping Out. That's pretty good thing.
Actually, I was nude in my underwear with 2 penthouse models, so it was.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, I was, and I stuffed.
You got to grow up, dude. Really.
Wow.
I can't believe you allowed them to do that.
They forced me to.
I have to get a copy of that.
I'll send you a copy.
Joe, I mean, you have a little bit of a crush on Andrew, I think.
No, I find him very interesting. I find him fascinating.
Fascinating in what sense?
That he's like, I definitely think he has psychiatric issues. I mean that respectfully.
Jesus.
Who I have psychological issues. Is that what he said, or psychiatric issues?
Psychiatric issues.
Psychiatric issues. Okay. No, I think we all do.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, Andrew,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, baby.
I have a question for you. At what age did you start noticing hair loss, and what was it like for you?
It's a good question. I hadn't thought about that a lot. I think probably in my early 30s, I started to notice that my photos, were looking more and more. I mean, you get that striking moment where you look at a reunion picture and you're like, oh boy. So it just sat there kind of gnawing at me. I took Propecia for a few years, and then when I started to get serious about treating it, found Dr. B, and haven't looked back. And for those of you that are just getting on the line, by the way, no, this does not hurt, and no, there's no shame in it. And you're probably, if you're watching this, you've probably seen 100 different hair transplants and never knew it. It's kind of one of the secrets of. Men seem to do this and they don't tell anybody, especially people on television, movie stars, and people like Andrew.
Well, let me tell you this. I had a guy, a very well-known broadcaster from the BBC, that came into the studio to do. They were doing a BBC documentary on hair loss.
Jerry Anderson.
And I don't know if it's a UK thing or what, but I mean, he was a little reserved, obviously, and even though he's Irish, they're a little less reserved than than people from England. But the questions that he was asking, he was always like, he kept saying, well, it doesn't seem, he said to me, it didn't really affect him that much. And I'm like, well, why are you doing this? Why are you going through this journey if it hasn't affected you that much? And the guy's like almost 70. And he's considering having, surgical hair restoration. He's trying to make a decision on who he's going to go with. And he's, asking and interviewing, different people from, the UK and the US about their experiences with hair loss. And he said to me, because I keep talking about, I'm the Harry Houdini of the comb over and, what I've done all these years to try to save my hair and to keep the hair in my head. And he's like, do you think that comes out of insecurity? I'm like, well, what do you think? Of course, I feel a little bit less secure with my appearance, especially when I was 21 years old and my hair loss, started to happen. And as my hairline eroded, I started to feel that my self-esteem started to erode. And the reason I bring that up is, when you said that, you took a look at your picture at the age of 30 and started to say, hey, wow, what's happening? I mean, it definitely hits you. It's shocking to see that change. I don't know why more guys just won't admit it.
Was it, but Kev, did you have any kind of denial in this? Were you saying to yourself, well, maybe it's just the lighting, maybe it's nothing, it's not that bad? Did you go through that process, or did you immediately accept that there was something going on and you need to do something?
So, are you asking me, Kevin?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, so here's the thing. It was something I couldn't avoid because I was looking at pictures and I was looking at videos, and around 2005, I started making, I'm up to like 1,000 videos, nearly a video a day. So it was impossible to ignore. I mean, I'd see videos of me, and I can go back and look at those videos from, 2007, 2008, and really start to notice that, the hair was going. So there wasn't much time for denial. There was basically a period where I decided, I really can't let this bother me. It would be too vain to treat it. And so that was probably a bigger struggle.
How was it with family and friends? Did they start noticing? Did anybody say anything to you, or was it only you noticing it?
No, I think my wife would occasionally make a statement, look at a picture and go, wow, you really look like you're losing it there. But I didn't have a lot of people pressuring me. It was more sort of internal. It was more something I think I did for, and I'm doing for me, as more than, for other people. I just enjoy having hair and enjoy, a full head of hair and seeing myself in pictures and videos with hair. And when it starts to go, I just feel like it looks silly. And I don't have the head. I don't have the head for a shave either. I admire those people that can just do that and feel good. But my head looks like a giant banana, so wasn't an option.
Once again, I want to remind our viewers, you are tuning into a live hair transplant. YouTube sensation Kevin Nalts is undergoing his second procedure with Dr. Alan Bauman in Florida currently. We are simulcasting it amongst myself, Spencer Kobren from The Bald Truth. We have Joe from Staten Island on the line. We're broadcasting the first time, I believe. This is the first live hair transplant on YouTube Live. Via Kevin Nalts' YouTube page. I believe it's youtube.com/Nalts, Nalts. You can go check it out there. We're also broadcasting on the GFQ network at gfqlive.tv. So if you're experiencing any kind of issues with any one of the feeds, I encourage everybody to go check out one of the number of feeds that we have. We have quite a few people watching currently, and I believe we might hit the record for a live hair transplant here at the GFQ network.
Hey, Spencer and Andrew, we got some good equipment here to hopefully be able to show you what's going on. I don't know if you can make this out at the frontal part of the hairline. The hairs that we placed previously in a wavy and randomized fashion here are blending in with his existing hair. And I've made some sites here along the hairline just to go in between what he had up there, the previous transplants and his existing hair. And you'll see this kind of, it's not in a row. And I get that question all the time from patients. Is it going to look unusual? Is it going to look weird or bizarre? And the artistry goes into the shape of the hairline as well as the angle and the orientation and position of the individual follicles that we're going to place today. So can you guys make any of that out? Or
I actually can't see it. And you did say something interesting. It is art doing this, and it's not like any doctor could go and just do the procedure. You kind of have to have this creative vision on how you're going to do this and how you're going to blend it in with the original hair.
And Andrew, you said a mouthful. That's the biggest issue that we deal with when it comes to this type of cosmetic surgery. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone can do it well, and you really have to be experienced in order to create a great hair transplant. And that's what you're doing. You're creating you are creating a hair transplant. You're creating a new hairline. You're creating something that really was once there. You're trying to recreate nature. And a lot of guys just don't have the aesthetics to do it. And that's the biggest problem. You could have all the equipment in the world, like Nalts said, but if you're not good at what you do, if you don't have the right staff, the right team, it's not going to happen.
Dr. Bama, do you?
Yeah, and I want to thank my team. We have not only an incredible audiovisual team here, but obviously my regular surgical team for the work that they do. I mean, this is, what you're seeing is, doctor and patient here on camera, but behind the scenes and cutting and sorting the grafts and of course the placement of the grafts, which will occur later on this afternoon. A lot of that, the bulk of that work is handled by my surgical team, who is they're awesome, and they have many years of experience in the field, and I'm lucky to have them, and just want to publicly thank them for all the work that they do day in and day out, because without them, I can't do this procedure. I mean, there's too much labor. There's over 20 man-hours of work go into every hair transplant surgery that we do.
Dr. Bamman, since we were talking about the artistry that goes with a procedure like this, how, and this is a question from a viewer, what do you do when a patient comes in that has had a bad procedure? What steps do you take to correct it, or can you correct it?
Well, of course, what we're starting with is going to determine what kind of intervention or touch-up or refinement or repair or recycling of some previous transplants. And I've seen the full gamut of patients coming in with large punch grafts from the 1970s to patients who have had recently procedures done with a linear harvest with large scars or even mini grafts used instead of follicular units, which is, in this day and age, is really just a shame.
And then I did my own hair transplant 5 years ago that he had to clean up using a scalpel and tweezers.
Well, since we're all being honest, this is actually glued on my head.
Congratulations, man. Thank you for coming out.
I had to at this point. This is just glued.
Yeah, it looks good.
I went to Party City and just got a bad hair.
There's a lot that we can do. Even down to with the NeoGraft, I can take out individual hair follicles from a hairline that's not so natural looking, or if hairs have been improperly placed, we can take them out and put them back someplace else. So, we can get as granular as we need to with the devices and instruments that we have. It's just a matter of, what kind of procedure and what technique or technology is going to give us the biggest bang for the buck, is going to give us the best result, whether it's naturalness that we're looking to achieve or coverage.
Heat Up 49 in the YouTube chat room, well, she asked a question and also said something, made a comment initially that hair doesn't make the man. Now, what a lot of women don't seem to understand, especially women who aren't suffering with hair loss themselves, is that, when a guy starts to lose their hair, when they start to notice that they're getting a different reaction from people, especially women or whoever in their life, their family, there's comments being made, they're looking at themselves in the mirror and they're not as comfortable in their own skin as they once were. It is a real life-changing event for a lot of guys. And if the guy is not equipped to deal with it, it's going to affect almost every aspect of his life. And a lot of women don't understand. They can't figure it out why they don't find somebody attractive. And in their minds, you know what? It's not their hair because look at Vin Diesel or look at Michael Jordan or whoever looks good with a shaved head. You got to understand that these guys are the anomalies. These guys are really the exception to the rule. Most men will look less attractive and feel less attractive. It's just the bottom line with less hair. They may,
Spencer, I think she's saying something that I've heard before. In fact, Oprah once on her show said, isn't it right to love our man no matter how what his hairline looks like? And the audience went wild with applause. Well, that may be true, but that doesn't make a guy feel better. If a guy is unhappy with his looks and the loss of his hair, and he feels less attractive, or he feels less, it feels less young. That those types of assurances mean very little.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think, again, I don't think they understand, a lot of women understand why they're attracted to somebody. If a guy looks great without his hair, he's going to look great, period. But if a guy looks great with hair and then all of a sudden starts to lose his appearance, isn't as attractive, it completely changes his life. And yes, there may be women out there, there's plenty of women out there that end up marrying guys who are balding. Or they get married to a guy, or they hook up with a guy, and then he starts to lose his hair. They're already in love. It's not the end of the world. It's no big deal. It's not cancer, but it is an issue. And if you look at, you go online or Match.com, or you look at personal ads, you'll actually see women put in their personal ad, must have a full head of hair, which is pretty amazing to me.
And then you look at the research, and the guy with the hair, if you see two resumes and one guy's got hair, one doesn't, you're statistically more likely to pick the one with the hair. Same goes true with dating site photos. Interestingly enough, the one woman that is well known, and I've seen a lot of research on this, to encourage a guy to get his hair loss treated is mom.
Right.
And my best guess for that is that mom, seeing her son age, begins to feel like she must be very old.
Right. I hear you. I also think that a mom can sense when her kid is suffering, emotionally.
That's another very good theory. Yeah,
I agree with that.
And, I know when my mom was alive, when I first started to deal with hair loss, I mean, she was very kind. She would say, your hair looks great. What are you worried about? You're such a handsome kid, all the stuff that a mom says. But I saw it in her face when I would talk about it, and I was very open about it, to the point where, it was like my dad was like, enough is enough. What's the big deal? And I just saw it in her face. And she's like, well, listen, do whatever. Like I told her I was going to start to take medication. And she's like, do whatever you want to do to make yourself happy. And, that was a great, she knew that it was a serious issue for me. She really understood, where my dad was kind of like, what's the big deal? Because my dad at the time had a little bit of a bald spot. He was already about, I don't know, my dad's a lot older, and he had me in his mid-40s. So he was already probably about 60 or something when I first noticed my hair loss. Since he had a full hairline, he was just able to comb it back. It didn't really affect his looks. So to him, baldness wasn't that big of a deal. But, moms get it. I definitely think moms get it. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727, 888-659-3727. And also, I think she has to ask another question about whether or not Dr. Bauman does any helps cancer patients. And I guess Dr. Bauman could explain the difference between anagen effluvium caused by chemotherapy and, just traditional male and female pattern baldness.
Sure. Well, the good thing about chemotherapy and the anagen effluvium that occurs, the loss of hair, is that typically it will all grow back. So the vast majority of patients undergoing chemo, once they stop that literally toxin into their body, then their hair will start to kick in and regrow. And we certainly see a lot of patients who come to us and they want to know, if and when it's going to happen, and it takes really a year to see what kind of growth they're going to get from the chemotherapy regrowth. And many times patients will complain that their hair texture is different, or they'll be thrilled that their hair texture or quality or curl is different with that regrowth. But really the problem occurs is that in a small percentage of patients, the hair growth that returns is very, very weak. And it's interesting to notice in the vast majority of those patients, it actually regrows in what looks like a hereditary pattern of loss. And it can be very concerning. So one of the things that we did for some of those patients, again, the small percentage of patients who have poor regrowth after a year after stopping chemoctherapy, with the local Boca Raton Regional Hospital and Lynn Cancer Center, is we enrolled those patients in a low-level laser therapy trial here at the clinic. And we had about a dozen patients go through that trial. And I was amazed to see the improvement that we got with just low-level laser therapy alone in those patients. So, there is a possibility for those patients who did not get complete regrowth from stopping chemotherapy, that a non-chemical, non-invasive treatment like low-level laser might be beneficial to help get those follicles back in action, growing thicker, stronger, and healthier. We actually measured and photographed those patients, and they did very, very well. The vast majority of them did very well with the laser.
Well, I also want our viewers and our listeners to know that through the IHRS and through the ISHRS, there's a lot of pro bono work being done for kids in need, burn victims, for people who've had prior bad surgical results that really are not in a position to have corrective surgery. So, and Dr. Bauman has been involved with this, helping people out for a long time. So he definitely does and has done some pro bono work.
Yeah, we do quite a bit of pro bono work, and the vast majority of it is not publicized, is not mentioned. We do it when those cases come across our desk here at the clinic. Then, we take action. We do what we need to do to get those cases completed and get them done. And the Operation Restore, which is through the ISHRS, has been very helpful in subsidizing those patients who are traveling into us from other parts of the country for the specific types of procedures that we provide, like the neograft for scar repair or other issues. And we've done quite a number of those cases, and some of those cases are some of the most rewarding I've done in my 15 years in medicine.
Yeah, it definitely makes a big difference in people's lives. Happy Cabby says we should take some more phone calls, so let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air.
Big shout out to Happy Cabby. He helped us through some big technical issues earlier this morning.
Yay, Happy Cabby!
I woke him up, early this morning.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, good afternoon. Of course, me, Vincent goes test for naps now. And I want to wish Mr. Nalts luck and thank Dr. Bauman, you, and your co-host, Andrew.
All right,
thank
man.
You,
listen,
thank
go
you.
back.
I did have one final question before we went up for our naps. Would you mind before my medication
Well,
kicks in?
I'll tell you what. Give me 1 minute. I want to take this call. Is that cool? Just 1 minute. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. You know what? I just hung up on Joe. Sorry, Joe. Call back. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Hello, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Dave. I'm from Connecticut. I'm a big fan of Nalts. I'm glad he is doing this. This is like a really cool thing. I know we kind of addressed this before, like 20 minutes ago. But yeah, I'm 20 years old. I'm already noticing slight hair loss. My dad's bald. He's even mentioned to me, I'm noticing the fact that you're balding, this and that. I'm noticing it. It's not a huge thing, but I'm wondering, I guess, to ask Dr. Bauman, I know we've mentioned this before, but how early is too early? I mean, and what would you suggest? I mean, you talked about the genetic exam to see if, you have the gene, the hair loss gene. How early is too early? I mean, I hear things about Rogaine, this and that. I mean, what would you suggest? I mean, what is the first plan of action for somebody like me?
Well, the first thing is if you're somebody out there who thinks they're having hair loss, whether it's a receding hairline or thinning in the crown, the first thing to do, and this is the most important step, is that you've got to find a physician. You got to find someone, a doctor that you trust, to evaluate your condition, to decide with you whether treatment is necessary, and also to be kind of a motivator, someone who could be there with you if you're not getting the results or the reaching the goals that you set for yourself when it comes to a hair restoration treatment program. So the key component is not the medication, it's not the nutritionals, it's not the topicals. The key component, because everybody's going to have a different ability to comply with those treatments or not. And every patient is going to have a different goal in their mind of what they want to accomplish. So the key component is not the particular treatment that you need, but the key component is to find the doctor first.
And can I add to that? Because in the research I did when I was working at Propecia, I found that primary care physicians, with very few exceptions, would blow off a patient, and therefore you'd probably be blown off if you raise it with a primary care physician. They'll probably tell you to try some Rogaine and then send you out of their office. So I think what Dr. Bauman means is go see a specialist of some sort, a hair transplant surgeon or dermatologist, and then I would just add too that Rogaine and Propecia, they can't hurt. They may not grow hair radically, but they certainly do a good job of stopping the clock, so to speak?
Sure. So we know that minoxidil, when used twice a day, every day on the scalp, is going to have a good positive response on your hair. We know that medication like Propecia, taken once a day, every day, 90% of guys on that drug are going to stop losing hair and probably regrow some hair. That means in 5 years on Propecia, you have a 90% chance of looking the same or better. And with the other therapies, same thing. But the question is what's your current hair loss condition? What are you trying to accomplish? And then you put into place what's the first tier treatment. So maybe it's Propecia because it's the easiest to do. It's 1 pill a day. And then if that's not working for you or you can't comply with that, then maybe we have to go to a topical or a laser therapy, like a laser cap, something like that.
I think it's a question, back to the question around what's too early. I guess I'd answer that the same way as I'd answer a question around saving in a 401k. The earlier you start, the easier everything else becomes.
Right. Well,
the bottom line is I started to lose my hair around the same age as you. And I am now 46 years old. And I always tell my listeners, my readers, and my viewers that early intervention is the key. You can't be afraid to treat your hair loss. You can't be, there's only so long that you can be in denial. And if it's happening at 20 years old, and if you see the changes happening at 20 years old, then it's going to happen. It's progressive. So the bottom line is, if you look at me, while I joke around saying that I'm the Harry Houdini of the comb over, to some degree I am, I'm 46. I should be at least a Norwood 5 or 6 by now, really, really bald. I stopped the progression for many years, and then it kind of like slowly began to progress again, but it's very, very slow. Very, very slow. It's because I've been using finasteride for so many years, which is Propecia.
Well, thanks for your answers. And yeah, Kevin, thanks for doing this. It's really great.
All right, man. Listen, good luck to you.
Thanks for watching, man.
But yeah, if you don't start preventative treatment, as Kevin knows, without the preventative treatment, things will get worse. So, that's the message. Early treatment is the best treatment, because once the follicle is dead and gone, then transplantation is the only option to restore coverage to those areas.
All right, let's see. This might be Joe.
Hey,
is this Joe?
Yes, I'm up to strongly disagree with something that Dr. Bauman just said, but all due respect, Dr. Bauman. The studies have shown that the hair follicle never dies. It's only in a dormant state. Have your studies shown something different?
Joe.
Well, look, we know that there are patients who have irreversible hair loss. I mean, even if you put them on Propecia, minoxidil, and laser, hair doesn't grow back in a severely depleted area. So those are the areas that are going to need transplantation. Hey, Spencer, we're going to go back to our extraction phase now. So we need just a few minutes to kind of reconfigure Kevin here in position in the chair for some more extractions. I've completed all the sites where the hairs are going to be implanted. So we've made the sites appropriately for what we assume we're going to get today.
Well, Andrew and I can talk back and forth for a little bit. And,
Cookie break. Cookie break.
Cookie break, okay. Okay, great.
All right, good. Take your break and let us know when you're back.
Okay, great.
Guys, let me give out the phone number. Hey, Joe, listen, thanks for calling in.
I only Dr. Bauman didn't know about that question. I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, I don't think he's even half as annoyed as I am about you saying that I look tired today.
No, I was just kidding. I was just teasing you.
I'm very affected by that. I mean, this is what I do for a living, and I try to. Joe, I'm just kidding. I'm just busting your balls. I know I don't want to make you feel bad because I know that you really take this shit seriously.
No, do.
I want to thank everybody who's actually tuning in on YouTube, and I also want to thank everybody who has made The Bald Truth really one of the most watched online broadcasts on the internet. And now, Nalts, is doing this thing with YouTube, and we're doing some live stuff obviously today on YouTube. Hopefully, we can start doing some live YouTube stuff as well. Usually, we air the program obviously through the GFQ network, The Bald Truth, Ustream, Stickcam, Justin TV, and we're on iTunes Radio and Stitcher Radio and a bunch of other places. And this show has been on the terrestrial radio and satellite radio for about 14 years. But it's because of viewers and listeners like you that are really helping us to get this information out to those who really have no idea what to do. They're just realizing you have to understand that 200,000 of us realized for the first time that we're losing our hair every day. 200,000 Americans. And they were like, what the F do I do? Where do I go? Where do I turn? You know where they turn? They turn to, the internet, sadly, or, there used to be the Yellow Pages or infomercials. And there are people right now that are sitting in a chair right now, not in Dr. Bauman's office, but in a large chain clinic perhaps, that thought they did their due diligence, thought that they, sorry guys, I'm going to choke to death, thought that they really researched surgical hair restoration, and they got their financing together and they took a week off of work, and what's happening to them right now is going to destroy their lives.
Well, how about those guys that, they'll spend $300 on some herbal thing from Brazil that does not work? I recently had a conversation with someone a couple of days ago because they know I work with you and they know I'm involved with hair loss now. They were telling me how they got this cream or this conditioner from Israel, and it's supposed to grow your hair.
Yeah.
And I'm telling the guy, I'm like, it doesn't work. It's just a condition. You go, no, it works. And it's this denial phase that people hit where they think, well, I'll just order it because it's some guy told me and it's going to work. The reality is, it doesn't work.
That's a good point. That's a good, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
The side thing sometimes does that. But, you have to understand, again, it's a $3.5 billion a year industry. 2/3 of men by the age of 35 have some degree of hair loss. It is the largest demographic of all humankind. 40% of women will suffer with hair loss at some point in their life. And after the age of 50, it becomes like 60% of women. So it is huge. It is that huge. That's why the market is $3.5 billion in this country, and 99% of the products are complete nonsense, will not work, complete crap. And if you are buying something on the internet that gives you a money-back guarantee, believe me, you're getting a guaranteed piece of crap, because a pharmaceutical company wouldn't do that. There are 2 FDA-approved products that work for hair loss.
Well, I was just about to say that. If it's not FDA approved, it's not working currently.
Well, if it's not FDA approved, or if it's not recommended by the American Hair Loss Association. The reason I say that is there are a couple of products that are being used off-label that are FDA approved for other applications that seem to be working for hair loss. One is, they're experimenting with Latisse, and there are some other therapies like platelet-rich plasma therapy, PRP therapy, that has really shown some real merit. So, we at the American Hair Loss Association are recommending certain therapies along with the FDA-approved stuff. But if it comes in a bottle, if it's sold on the internet, if it's sold through an infomercial and you don't see the American Hair Loss Association seal, or if it's not FDA-approved, walk away. But you know what? You won't. You're not going to walk away. You know what you're going to do? You're going to go online. You're going to look up, solving your hair loss problem, or hair loss or hair transplants, whatever it is. You're going to go to the first ad that you see, or maybe the first indexed site that you see, and you're going to find the American Hair Loss Association or Bald Truth Talk, which is our forum, or maybe the Bald Truth. But once you see what we do, the fact that we give you, information and we empower you with the truth, you may say, I want to buy something to see if I can help myself first. And that's what people do. And then they come back to us and like, oh man, I wasted my money. Or they went down the wrong path and had a hair transplant, and it didn't work out for them because they didn't do their due diligence.
And I think it's a lot easier for someone to justify going online and finding something that people are guaranteeing. It's some cream that they pay $49.99 or $59.99 for, rather than going to a doctor and getting the proper medication, or even seeing a doctor for a procedure.
This has been sold as a commodity, hair loss product. It's not presented as a medical issue.
But can you imagine if that existed for any other invasive thing? I mean, I guess it does, right? I mean, in the 80s, you had the creams to grow your breasts.
Dude, it still happens. I mean, because I do what I do, I get thousands of emails a month from women who are considering cosmetic surgery. Now, I don't know why this happened, but I guess they watch The Bald Truth, maybe with their husbands, whatever it is. They figure I'm a consumer advocate. They want to get the facts about what's happening. So many people are being botched out there by unaccredited, really non-skilled plastic surgeons. They're not plastic surgeons. You have to understand that in this field, in hair transplantation and in cosmetic surgery, you just have to be an MD or a DL. You need no surgical residency, no surgical skill. You can, as long as you have a medical degree, you can hang up a shingle and say you're an expert. You can do breast implants or chin implants, chin augmentation. Penile implants. You can do hair transplantation. You can do whatever you want. And you can call yourself a cosmetic surgeon. And that's what's happening in this country.
Well,
There's
look-
I think there's like 2,700 board certified plastic surgeons in this country that are actually qualified, in my view, to do these type of procedures. But there are thousands and thousands more who just call themselves cosmetic surgeons. Same in the hair restoration business. You know, we've had over almost 700 applicants, actually maybe more than 700 now, to the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons in the last 11 years. I've accepted less than 60. And for those who are just watching this for the first time on YouTube, these guys who are accepted into the organization pay an annual screening fee. I would love to take all of their money. I would love to just take half of the guys that applied. It would still appear to be selective. But the truth is, you know, I can't do it because the work that's being done is so bad. Dr. Bauman is one of our accepted doctors, and there's a reason for it. He really changes people's lives for the better. And that's why Nalts picked him. You know, Nalts was in the industry. Nalts knew, really, how to research this. And Nalts contacted me at one point asking about his options. And I'm glad that he picked Dr. Bauman because obviously he's there for a second time. This is, he's happy with the initial procedure.
And that's what I was going to say. He had a positive experience the first procedure.
That's right. And you have to understand that these are relatively conservative procedures, too. I think he had, 1,900 grafts the first procedure or something around then, less than 2,000 grafts, and he's going in for more. There are, with conventional strip, the higher-end strip procedures, guys are getting up to 4,000 or 5,000 grafts in a shot. However, you have to be willing to, have a linear scar in the back of your head that's, easily covered by your hair. And if it's done well, it's basically invisible up to about a number 2 or number 3 buzz cut. But with, the current, iteration of FUE surgery, really guys are not getting many more than 2,000 grafts at a time, which is still a nice size procedure. But he went in there twice. This is his second time. And because it's less invasive, it's not as much of an issue. There's not as much downtime. So for a guy like Nalts, who's obviously very active, he's online all the time, he's going to a wedding in a couple of days, it's a perfect procedure for him. But he did his research. That's the key.
And many people don't. That's the problem.
Most people don't. They think they do.
So
that's a problem with what's happening online.
So
that's the biggest problem.
So people actually, let's say someone wants to go and get surgery. I mean, this is invasive surgery. You're cutting your head open. Do they just open up the yellow pages and find a transplant doctor or find a doctor and not do their homework and just get it done?
That's what people do all the time.
I mean, that's awful.
You have to understand that, we have been raised in our society to believe whatever a doctor says, to believe that these are doctors. They must be good people. They must be out there healing people, trying to, do their best. That's not the case. It's sad. I work with doctors. I know doctors. And you know what? Because I do what I do, I probably don't take my own advice because I always tell people they need to, seek the advice of a physician for anything right away. I have a lot of trouble seeing doctors. I have a lot of trouble trusting doctors because I know what happens from this end of the business. I've dealt with some of the biggest scumbags that you could ever imagine. Guys that actually have really good PR that you would think have great credentials, and they are terrible at what they do. Terrible at what they do. And, it's frustrating because there's so many people that need these types of procedures done. Hair restoration, honestly, I think now it's going to grow exponentially because of these newer techniques, newer devices that are out there, and the fact that we're able to do, broadcasts like this and really get this information out to the mainstream public. But sadly, there's so many people that are going to be harmed still. And again, they're being harmed today. So, guys, if you're considering surgical hair restoration like Nalts, please, before you do anything, check out the American Hair Loss Association, AmericanHairLoss.org. You can check out the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, IAHRS.org. You can join our message forum, which is baldtruthtalk.com. There are thousands of people, thousands of members on that forum interacting, sharing ideas and their experiences. And you're really going to get a good idea of what to expect, whether you're treating yourself with medication, where to go and find a reputable, that's a tough word for me, Andrew. A reputable doctor who's really going to help you. Just do your research. That's what this broadcast is for, and that's why we decided, we'll do this with Nalts. Especially the first time, I was like, well, listen, we all love Nalts, but I was like, how is this going to go down? Is this going to be taken seriously? You know what? And it was. It was a great experience, and so many people were helped from his initial transplant.
I want to remind everybody and encourage everybody to talk to us. Call us, 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Go ahead.
See, dude, Skype thing, man. I'm sorry. I keep walking over you.
No, there was feedback coming in from the line.
By the way, I want everyone to know that I'm actually in my studio here in Los Angeles, California. Andrew is in New York, and we are doing getting a live feed from Dr. Alan Bauman's office in Boca Raton and Florida, and they'll be back. Nalts will be back in the chair shortly. So let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Yes. How's it going?
Not bad. How you doing? Who's this?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been watching the whole Nalts thing, and it's pretty cool to see that live on YouTube.
Oh, I'm glad, man. So what's your story? Are you dealing with hair loss?
I have hair loss. I do the kind of a comb over thing, but I tend to have hair loss problems all over my body.
Okay.
And I was wondering, like, can you do this kind of a procedure on the pubic area? Because I kind of do the comb over.
The pubic comb over. The pubic comb over.
You know, that's a new look. It was an In Style magazine had a feature on the pubic comb over a couple of weeks ago. So I think you should just leave it the way it is and just go with the trend.
Do you think it would have been more fun if Nalts was on the line for the prank?
Yeah, I couldn't help myself.
All right, man, thanks for the call.
Hi.
888-659-3727. Yeah, I mean, actually, the pubic comb over is a big thing in Asia. You know, Japanese women, their culture really frowns upon the
bare pubic area.
Bare pubic area.
And they actually get pubic transplants, right? They actually get a hair transplant in a pubic area because it's like a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah. So this 50-year-old guy that called in with the prank actually made a little sense because people are concerned about their pubic region.
Somebody in India. Do you see?
He just sounded 50.
Do you see the if you're watching the YouTube chat? Somebody had a very interesting question. I don't know if I lost a chat, but he's in India and he said he's been on something for 8 months. I don't know if you could catch it.
Let's see. Got so many chats going on here.
I know we have multiple chat rooms here for the live broadcast. We have a chat room on our website, gfqlive.tv. We have an IRC chat with a good number of 20 people in there right now. We also have our Stick and Feed and our Justin TV feed. So we're pretty much all over the place, and we're trying to grab all the questions at the same time. So please be patient with us. Or you can call us, 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. You can call
now, we do have a couple of calls on the line, but I'm going to answer it. I found this guy's question. He's 25 years old from India, and he said he's been on finasteride, which is Propecia, for 8 months now. His hair is still thinning. And he said there are good dermatologists here, but they don't have any hair. They don't take hair loss seriously. And he said there's no ISHRS doctors. Well, let me explain the difference between the organizations. The ISHRS is the International Society of Hair Restoration Surgery, which is an all-inclusive organization. It's an educational, nonprofit organization where anybody interested in surgical hair restoration can join, become a member, display their seal, and learn the artistry and, be a part of the largest hair transplant organization in the world. With that said, again, it's all inclusive and there's no credentialing process. So anyone can display that and say that they're a member. The IAHRS is the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. And it's an organization that I founded as a consumer advocate about 11 years ago. That's IAHRS.org. That is not all inclusive. Now, most people want to be a part of it because of our, presence out there, on radio over the years and through the Bald Truth books and now with our online presence and broadcast. But we've only accepted about 60 members who are really doing truly state-of-the-art surgical hair restoration. And I always have to preface this by saying, or not qualify, but let people know that all members, just like with any other organization, pay an annual screening fee once you're accepted into the IHRS. But sadly, we have to reject most people who are, applying for membership. So most of the guys you see out there that hang up a shingle that say they're hair transplant specialists, just be wary. I would consider yourself lucky if you have caught this broadcast and you're considering surgery. Go to ihrs.org. That is correct, Andrew.
Okay.
Or you can go to baldtruthtalk.com or the Bald Truth, or just call Dr. Bauman up, and ask him for a recommendation in your area.
And I'm posting a link. I'm posting a link in the chat room. Actually, I don't think I can post links in chat room. Actually, and everything just crashed. So I'll try it again. Yeah.
All right. So let me take this call. See who this is. Hey, who's this? You're on the air.
Yes, man. I'm just getting prepared to take a nap.
Why are you taking a nap? It's what time is it there? It's like 2:00 in the afternoon there.
I know, man, but I really have to nap right now. It's part of my daily regimen. I'm putting my son down for a nap too.
So you guys nap together?
No, Spencer. He naps in his own room.
No, it's okay. He's your son. There's nothing, sexual. It wasn't a sexually oriented, concern or question. If that made sense. I'm just asking. Your kid. How old is your kid? Joe, you there?
Hello?
Yeah. How old is your kid?
9 years old.
9 years old.
Yeah. No, we just taking a nap now, and I'm taking my nap.
All right. Well, listen.
But I just want to make one thing. I just hope I offend Dr. Bauman. I'm really upset over that.
No, you offended me, not Dr. Bauman. He's not upset.
Joe, let me ask: are you lucid at this moment?
Well, I've ingested. No, I've ingested. What do you call it? A medication for sleeping.
Okay.
20 milligrams of Zolpidem.
All right, dude. Yeah. You're putting me to sleep, dude.
No, I just want to say, just to leave, when you get Dr. Bauman on the phone, could you just please ask him for me if he's incorporating ACell into his practice, so we can discuss on a Sunday's Bowl Truth 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah, thanks for that plug, Joe. Yeah, I'll ask him.
Just do me a favor and ask that. Especially, I have my wrong glasses on. I got my regular glasses on. You look very refreshed.
Dude, I'm just filing it away. That's it. I'm sorry.
No, man, I had the wrong glasses on.
You've already screwed up, dude. It's done. You screwed up my day. Now I'm going to need at least 2 days of therapy.
Spencer, please don't dismiss me, please. Close to this, please.
Dude, come on. Oh, dismiss you? Come on, relax. You're part of the program. Now go take your nap. Your pills are kicking in.
You could tell.
Yes.
I had my wrong glasses on. That's why I misjudged you. Foggy. I wear 2.25, and I had my 1.50s on, so I couldn't actually see you.
Joe,
I apologize for that.
Joe, it's okay. It's all right.
We forgive you, Joe. Everybody, the chat room forgives you. If you're watching, I'm sure they'll all say we forgive you, Joe.
Yeah, we forgive you, Joe.
And Andrew, you have very beautiful hair, and don't take the DX test.
Oh, thank you, Joe.
Are you guys working tonight, by the way? One quick question.
No, we are not working tonight.
It's actually. Can I say what's tonight?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's actually Jess's birthday tonight, Andrew's wife's birthday. So he'll be taking off, and it gives me a night off.
We're taking. I'm getting a car service, and we're going to Le Cirque here in New York City.
Wow, this guy's making some dough. He's only 27 years old. I told him everything. I told him everything he knows about making a living. But what are you going to do?
Yeah,
he's good for $1,000 a week, easy.
Who's good for $1,000
a week? Try $1,000 a minute.
I'm gonna spend about $1,000 at Le Cirque for 2 drinks.
What do you mean the new Le Cirque? I used to go.
No, we're going to the new Le Cirque, not Le Cirque 2000.
Mr. Crystal Katz doesn't forgive you, Joe, but he pardons you. All right, listen, we gotta get back to the show. Joe, I will be doing. He just hung up. I'll be doing the broadcast, obviously Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, on theballshoot.com and everywhere else through GFQ Live, Ustream.tv, Stickam, everywhere else that streams live stuff.
Yeah, people. I know there are many people in the chat that are interested. This is the first time that they've seen it.
How is that possible?
I don't know. It's actually Mr. Oystercats. Mr. Oystercats. You got his name wrong. Now I'm going to pardon you for that.
Oh, you see, you know what? It's my eyes.
Yeah, you see?
Dude,
You
I'm
need your
46
glasses.
years old. I'm sorry. I mean, I have this high resolution monitor and everything's smaller.
But
Real
if this
pain.
is their first time watching the show, they could always catch a program live every Sunday or on iTunes. We're all over the place, and on YouTube actually. You can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/guysfromqueens, and you could subscribe and check out the show there. I know they are doing some procedures. I think the audio was muted on the in the surgery room right now.
Is it because because he's screaming right now?
I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding, guys.
That's
I'm
the
just
shot
it's
right
a painless procedure, believe me.
I know they're doing some meticulous work right there.
So basically, what it looks like, they have the technicians are actually implanting the grafts right now.
They are putting the little chunks of rice back into my corpus callosum.
Well, I think what's important is that people need to know that Dr. Bauman already placed the recipient sites. Basically, he made the tiny microscopic cuts in your scalp in the right direction. So when the grafts are implanted, they will grow in the right direction. And that's really, really important because one of the cornerstones of a bad hair transplant is poor growth and poor direction of growth. And that's really all something that only a truly skilled hair transplant surgeon can control.
Yeah, Spencer, it's not just about where the hairs are, as you know. It's about exactly what angles so that the hair grows at a natural angle. And the two ways you could tell a bad hair transplant is the plugs, which are obvious, but also that Frankenstein straight shot. And what he's really good about is not just creating a cool curvature, but also taking the density of the hair and using that as a guide. So putting light ones in the front, and then a little bit heavier in the back. And so it's absolutely impossible to detect.
And, I think it's important that we're seeing the techs who are actually working on your scalp right now. It illustrates the fact that this is really a team effort. And most people who are considering surgical hair restoration don't realize that. I always tell people who are considering surgery to, obviously, a really well-recommended doctor is not going to have a crappy team around him. But, you might want to speak to the staff a little bit, see how long they've been performing surgery, see how long they've been with this doctor. Because I think that's rather telling. I remember this one, I was speaking to this one doctor on the telephone. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And normally when I would call this doctor up, a receptionist would answer the phone. I'm not going to give out any names. And there was a new receptionist that answered the phone for this phone call. And I asked where the other receptionist was. And she said she's training in surgery right now. She's training to be a tech. It was her first day. Now, this isn't a doctor that I work with. But what's interesting about that is this poor schmuck had no idea that the day before surgery, the girl that was implanting the grafts was picking up the phones.
Oh, my God.
She had no prior experience. And that happens more often than you think.
Well, weren't there stories about some a certain doctor doing having sanitation workers doing the procedures?
Yeah, a certain doctor that ended up suing me for providing listeners with the truth many years ago had a hair transplant technician that actually his main job, his day job, was a New York sanitation worker. And what this guy was doing, he was working under the table with patients saying, listen, I'll do the transplant for half the price. And he would go into this doctor's facility at night, kind of sneak in there and perform hair transplants on these poor guys. And I think your friend Chauncey Hayden had that done to him.
Yeah, Chauncey Hayden, gossip columnist, editor.
Page six guy.
Page six guy from the Howard Stern Show for many years. Chauncey Hayden had a procedure from him, and there's an awful scar at the back of his head.
More than awful. It's a disaster. He looks okay. He shaves his head, but
he kind of looks like Frankenstein. I mean, that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
And now he shaves his head because it was a bad job.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to even mention the doctor's name, but I mean, these are all true stories. And this person was actually applying to be a member of the organization. So I was calling them, after I was doing my research, and I was calling these people for a couple of weeks. And I just happened to ask where the other receptionist was, and that kind of sealed the deal for me as far as not accepting this guy into the organization. So it's really important that you understand who's working on your head as well. And Dr. Bauman obviously only has, his longtime staff and really skilled technicians, and you can actually see what they're doing right now, which is pretty amazing if you've never seen this process performed before. Let's take a phone call. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
I'm sorry, I keep getting disconnected. I'm going to say goodnight now. I know you have
Jesus Christ, Joe.
I can't go to sleep without saying goodnight to you, Spencer. You and Andrew.
All right,
Good night,
man.
Joe. I'll see you Sunday. Are you working Sunday?
Yes, unless Spencer's staff dismisses me. I'm really worried now that I said a little fatigue, and I had my wrong glasses.
Now, do you think that I would not allow you to call in because you said that I looked a little tired? I mean, do you think that I'm that effed up?
Well, Spencer, you know I tend to be delusional at times. You know that part of my illness.
Joe, relax.
Oh, man, you look great. You and Andrew both look great, man.
Joe, we love you. Relax. And yes, this is Joe sober. I should start drinking now. It's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere.
No, it's just 20 milligrams of alprazolamine, so I wouldn't say exactly I'm sober.
All right. Well, listen,
Joe,
enjoy
have fun
that.
with your nap.
And have a good nap, and I'll speak to you on Sunday, all right?
Spencer, you didn't reach 30 yet, did you? You're looking about 27, man.
You see, what is wrong with this guy? Joe, we love you. We're not going to kick you off the show. Just relax and take a nap. Poor Nalts is in the chair there getting, grafts implanted, and you're talking about your
I just want Joe to share some of his drugs.
Yeah, they're good stuff.
In my transplant, in my opinion, surgery is nothing. I'd have it done again tomorrow if I had the donor area replaced. Tomorrow I'll go back.
You have more donor area than you think, Joe. You have more hair than you think. You just don't have enough to give you the full head of hair that you want. So you decided to just kind of cover it with a bandage and a baseball cap for the last 30 years.
Right. Well, Dr. Fella said, he was shocked when he saw me, and not as bad as I think. He thinks I'm on. He insinuated I have psychiatric.
Joe, I met you in person. First of all, Joe sounds like he's 700 pounds, and he's just a total mess. He's a normal-looking dude.
With just bandages covering his head.
Yeah, he's like 6'2", nice-looking guy.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm getting frustrated. Joe, we love you. We're going to take another call. All right.
If I come to New York, I got to meet with you, please.
Absolutely.
And I hope your father's doing well, man.
I appreciate that, man. I'll let him know that you said hi. All right?
And one final thing, Andrew, your hair looks great.
Thank you, Joe.
Don't take the test, please.
Thank you, Joe. I won't. Have a good night.
And Spencer, don't go to the bar. You get proof tonight.
All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate that.
God bless you both.
All right.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Spencer, I want to have sex with you.
Let's see who this
Spencer.
is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
This is Jolene Sugarbaker. How are you?
We're fine. How are you?
I just wonder how you got Nalts to sit there so still. I've known him for a long time, and I don't think he's ever sat that still before.
I think it's the drugs, actually.
I got 2 words for you. Val-yum.
That's his favorite candy, but I'm so glad you're taking care of that shiny noggin of his, and I love watching it here on Tube Live.
Well, I appreciate the call, and you know what? I think he looks great as is, and I'm not just saying that, but he's going to look even better in a couple of months.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
All right, listen, thanks for the call.
Thank you for calling. By the way, Spencer, I wish you could experience what I'm experiencing, because I'm looking at this feed on a high-definition television, and I can sit there and watch them place each of the follicles into the head, and then I keep forgetting that it's my head. I feel like I'm watching National Geographic. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. It really is, and you got to see it from our end.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, I've never seen it up close this at this level. I mean, you could actually see that just everything. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Dr. Bauman was concerned that we might not be able to get to really get a really close
No,
look.
look at it. Look at the hair go in.
Yeah, and so he sent us some video just in case, so that we can play it during the broadcast, just in case we're not able to see the grafts being implanted. But we have a really good view. You guys did a great job, and I think that your bandwidth is holding up really well.
Yeah, and you're recording it?
We are. We are recording.
Spence and Stock. Everything looking good on your end over there?
Oh my God, it's fantastic. Cool. You guys are doing a great job. I have no idea.
Doing very well. Everything was looking good from our end too. So
I'm sorry that Dr. Bauman wasn't here a moment ago. He was at Wendy's recruiting new tech. He was recruiting new techs over at McDonald's.
Well, I know some guys that actually have recruited techs outside of Home Depot here in Los Angeles. There's a lot of undocumented workers.
He had his truck pulled up to 7-Eleven.
Right.
And said, hop in if you want to do some implants.
You're laughing. I actually know a guy that I'm not even going to mention his name, but he has done something kind of similar to that. And there's one company that's out on, they used to be on Venice Boulevard in Culver City that actually killed a poor guy. Did you hear about that story, Dr. Bauman?
How?
The guy that
How
died
do
in
you
Los Angeles?
a bad incision?
Local
It was lidocaine overdose.
Oh boy.
How do you OD over local anesthetic?
You have to be really, really, unskilled and untrained, and also the guy has to have probably an allergy to the medication.
I had a bad reaction, Spence, to lidocaine when I had dental work done. They gave me way too much lidocaine, and I just started freaking out, and I almost started shaking to the point that I was so hot, and the guy's like, "Oops, I gave you too much."
Well, that's the problem. That's why you really have to go to a doctor, a really skilled, trained surgeon that actually has the right staff and understands, how to administer, even local anesthetic. I mean, it could really damage you, right, Dr. B?
Well, no, because it'll come.
Spencer, I have a question. I think he was talking, so I didn't hear yours. But I have a question for you. You only certify 60 hair restoration surgeons.
Right.
What's that a percent of? What
Well,
percent?
from the guys that, let's see, we've had about 700 applicants in 11 years. There's about 1,500 doctors that are currently hanging up a shingle in North America saying that they're hair transplant specialists. Only about 700 or so are in the ISHRS. The rest are kind of like rogue doctors who aren't part of any organization. So you do the math while you're in the chair, but it's a very, very small percentage of those who apply. Less than 10%, and for the total number of doctors out there, I guess it would be less than 3%.
What criteria do most of the people disqualify?
Shitty work.
And you do that through checking references of
Well, the bottom line is since we've been around for so long, we're kind of like the clearinghouse for complaints. So as soon as a doctor applies, we already know, we look in our database and already know how many complaints we have. If it's consistent, if it's the same type of complaints, if it's not just a few people who may have had unrealistic expectations, we don't even call them back. We don't, because it's a process to try to approve them. I have to speak to multiple patients, including at least 2 physicians who they perform surgery on. Usually, for most of our guys, I like to have a reference from one of our IHRS members, and that doesn't happen that often. I also have my senior medical advisor take a look at things and speak to him and a couple of my other doctors and ask whether or not, because you have to understand that I'm not a physician. I don't claim to be any type of medical specialist. I'm, a consumer advocate. So I also like to get some other authorities involved and some people who have some medical credentials to help me take a look. But the bottom line is, initially when I started, doctors had to do state-of-the-art follicular unit transplantation with the use of binocular stereo microscopes. They had to have the right size team, staff. I mean, Dr. Bauman, you remember when you applied way back when? And I think that, we really did our due diligence to investigate your practice.
Sure.
Hey, Spencer, I'd like to introduce you to wife of Nalts in the pink there. She's popping in and checking out.
The shot's not up for me yet. So, hey, wife of Nalts, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Spencer
I can't
Kobren,
complain.
the author of The Bald Truth and the website and the radio show, and he's devoted the past 20 years to providing clarity on hair restoration.
I'm not quite that old. It's about 14 years, but I appreciate that.
He's simulcast. We've got 3 different locations. He's on
LA.
He's in LA, and we've got somebody else in Andrew in New York.
Oh, wife of Nalts is beautiful. She's got great hair, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe I should give Kevin some of my hair.
Yeah, pass that on. She just spray tanned while she was here,
I'm getting
too.
tanner by the minute.
Good for her. We like the spray tan.
A cloudy day in Boca.
See, you ask why I got a hair transplant. It's because I gotta make sure that I compliment that beauty.
You do.
Gotta keep up.
But you guys, I mean, I've seen you guys. I've seen Wife Nalts on your channel a couple of times.
Oh,
but she's much more stunning in person.
And she has her own channel, right?
Oh yes, she does.
I do.
Have you posted to that recently?
I gotta get back on. I haven't done much lately. Thinking about doing a mom's channel though.
That would be really cool. Oh, there you go. We've got some light on you now. Wow, look at that hair. Holy cow.
Why don't you sing, Joe? Go ahead and sing. Go ahead and sing a little song. We got to make this somewhat entertaining.
If they could see me now, that little gang of mine, I'm eating fancy chow and drinking fancy wine.
Everybody's talented in that family.
Unbelievable. We give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. We have another phone call. Let's take it. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
His fault that he's a good guy. Dogs be somersaults and does a waltz, and no one asks him why. His name is Nalts.
Well, thanks for that.
That was a theme song. I thought for a minute there was Mystery Guitar Man actually singing on the phone, but that was a recording of the Nalts theme song.
Guys, if you want to call in and speak to Nalts while he's in the surgical suite, while he's in the chair, having a live hair transplant, live from Dr. Alan Bauman's office in Boca Raton, Florida, give us a call, 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I want to thank everybody who has decided to join us today, besides our usual viewers and listeners who are listening through and watching through Ustream and GFQ Live.tv and The Bald Truth and Stickcam and on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, everywhere else on the internet. We are live on Nalts' channel on YouTube, and this is a great experience. I mean, I can't see how many people are in your room, Nalts, but Andrew, I mean, what's the viewership in all the other places?
I haven't done a tally in the last hour, but we were at around 35,000 about an hour ago. So I think
hopefully YouTube will bump up those numbers.
Yeah, so I haven't tallied the YouTube numbers, but on our end we're at around 35,000. From an hour ago. I haven't checked it. I'll give you a number in like 5 minutes.
No, dude, no pressure.
I'll start working now.
No pressure. Let's take a phone call.
All right.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Spencer, did you?
Hi,
I sent you some of the video of the extraction. Did you get it? I don't know if you had a chance to look at that. Did you get that download that I sent you? The link?
Oh, we
yesterday?
got the link. I didn't send it to Andrew though.
Oh, okay.
So we're not going to be able to air it live right now. Well, maybe I can. We can.
You can try sending it.
We could probably do it during the broadcast. We have Joe Serial on the line. Joe,
hey,
how
Spencer,
are you?
how you doing?
I'm not bad, man.
All
How
right.
are you?
All right, I'm watching this procedure live, and of course I've had NeoGraft, I've had FUT, strip, all that stuff, and I just want to say, like, something like NeoGraft is so simple. It's kind of like it's kind of like getting a massage. It's that simple. It's a no-brainer. When they're just taking them out of the donor area and putting them in. There's really not much to it, and there's not much risk as far as I'm concerned. I know infection's a risk, if I'm not mistaken, right, Dr. Bauman? And other than that,
infection with NeoGraft is really just a pimple.
So it's like a massage without the happy ending. You're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a no-brainer as far as it. In my opinion, it might be the lowest risk cosmetic procedure that there can be done. I'm not sure, but
I would say, you still are scoring the skin, and you're definitely making multiple 1,000 or more incisions in the recipient area. So you are cutting the skin. I mean, it's. I would say, as far as a surgical procedure, absolutely, it's probably
It was much easier than my breast augmentation.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Also, I wanted to, Andrew, it's the first time I've seen him actually, to tell him that I was a guy who, I didn't have really bad hair loss, but I decided to get actually 3 transplants in order to kind of like prevent any more future loss and to kind of cover it up. So, in my opinion, I don't think it's a bad idea to get a hair transplant before you've lost a lot of hair.
Well, normally, Oh, okay, he's back. I thought he took a quick bathroom break or something.
I did.
But
What did I miss?
He's basically talking about your hair.
Oh, okay. Is it good
Want me to
stuff?
repeat it or?
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, what I was saying is I was a guy who had, I would say, pretty much a full head of hair, not quite as thick as yours, and I still had a transplant. I actually had 3 of them from Dr. Bauman, actually. And one of the things that it's given me, I guess psychologically, I don't sit there and worry and obsess about my hair anymore. I guess that's the one thing it's given me. And the second thing it's given me is super thick hair. You kind of already have that. I mean, I'm looking at you right now. I can see where you have a mature hairline, but it's not. It's not
man,
bad.
you know, you can't.
It's not bad.
Joe, you can't tell him that. You can't tell him.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't really know his personality. This is the first time I've seen him. but listen, Andrew. The recession that you have in your hairline is basically
Wait a
what
second.
mine is.
Again, you just said recession.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
Jesus.
I have the same exact one, but mine is planned like that. That's the way a mature hairline should look.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying.
What I've noticed in the last year.
It's like, how old are you, Joe?
I'm 42. I'm going to be 42.
Okay. He's like 13.
I'm 27.
Oh, he's 27
and a half.
He said, I was 37 with my first transplant, but it was I guess it was before it actually got worse. I started to get it transplanted, and I don't regret it at all. At all, I don't regret it.
Well, you know what it is. I don't think that it's that awful. It's just I'm noticing it now, and I think I'm more aware of this stuff since I've been working with Spencer and I've been working with the program, and I'm part of these procedures that are being done live. I'm noticing certain things, like if you see the side, it's at an angle, and about a year ago it wasn't. It was straight. So that's where I've noticed it.
It wasn't straight a year ago.
It was straight.
You haven't recessed. Things have not changed. And your mind has changed because you became more active on the program.
So you think I've just lost my mind?
I just think that you're getting paranoid, and I think that at this point, listen, just keep a close eye. But I think you look great.
But I think it is something that many men think about.
Of course dude, I wouldn't do it. This is all I do. This is what I do. People ask me what I do for a living. This is what I do. They don't understand how I can do this and be successful at it. You know why? Because every man thinks about it.
Absolutely, but this is the difference. I'm on the air 40 hours a week. I'm broadcasting live. I'm more aware of what I look like and what I'm doing, and of course the viewers let me know also what I look like and what I'm doing. So I'm able to, I guess, kind of assess the situation.
You're not going to notice it. Just that's going to age you.
Just
that's
stop.
What
Did you say keep drinking or stop drinking?
Stop drinking.
I can't do that.
Happy Cabby in the room said he's wondered why the phone has been ringing for 90 minutes. You must be calling the wrong number, dude. I have an auto attendant on this phone, so it should pick up after 4 rings if you are calling in. And the phone number is 888-659-3727.
Also, if it's a blocked number, then it won't go through.
Well, it's an 800 number. It shouldn't be. Well, that's true. If it's a blocked number, we're not going to take any blocked numbers because why did we set it that way? I forgot. There was some sort of an issue that we had to set it that way. Anyway, unblock your number, Cabby, and it'll go through.
Spencer, I have one more question, then I'll let you go. Is Nalts staying at the Bauman Hilton in Boca Raton?
Yeah, yes, indeed. For the transplantation vacation, I'm staying at the lovely, accommodating Hilton with wife of Nalts.
Right. So, I mean, that place. I mean, when you get the transplant with Dr. Bauman, you get the hotel room, and you also get the the hair transplant as well. So it's cool. You don't have to worry about booking the hotel and any of that kind of stuff. It's just simple. So
what about food? Is food included?
Lunches, yeah. You get lunch.
Wonderful free food, yes. And this morning I was awakened by a lovely symphony that perched outside of our balcony.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. Serenaded. Well, Joe, I haven't heard from you in a long time. Don't be a stranger, man.
No, I won't. I won't. I mean, when I heard this was coming out, I was like, well, yeah, I'm gonna tune in. And I've been watching most of the day, but I had to eventually call. And then I heard what's his name? Joe, the ex-policeman,
Joe from Staten Island.
Oh, Joe from Staten Island. Sorry. And I was like, wow, he's still with you. So I mean, this guy
has been haunting me for 14 years.
Stalking.
And where's Dave? Dave these days? Where's Dave?
Dave is trying to move on with his music career.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I actually kidnapped Dave and I took over for him.
Yeah, Andrew took over.
Oh, okay. That's what Andrew is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's been a long. Okay. Well, it's nice talking to everybody. Thumbs up to Dr. Bauman, and thanks for the call.
All right, man. Thanks.
See ya. Bye.
888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Toll-free number. Yeah, maybe you don't want to call on Google Voice. Pick up a phone, and I guess you can use Google Voice through your phone now, right?
Yeah,
how do you call on Google Voice? Yeah, I guess I have Google Voice on my phone too.
No, I've called with
I'm
Skype.
46 years old, and even though I'm pretty technically savvy, I'm still 46 years old. So I still got that dad thing.
No, I've called with Skype.
Technology.
It works pretty fine. I don't know why it won't go through. Actually, that's weird. It should go through.
Let's see. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey there, this is Morris. How are you?
Hey.
I have a question here. I want to talk about my wife Martha, and she has got some losing hair. Now, I got a question. Is there any difference in the procedures between getting like a male transplant and a female transplant?
Dr. Bauman, you can answer that.
Yeah, so the procedure works just as fine in women as it does in men, provided there are a couple of different variables. In women that we transplant, first of all, 50% of my practice are women, and the vast majority of them are under medical management, meaning that we're not going to do surgery on them, and they're just using non-invasive treatments. If they have severe depletion in the area of female pattern hair loss, then absolutely. And if they have good hair in the back and the sides of the scalp that we've measured and monitored, those are hairs that can be moved into the thinning and the balding area. But
yeah, so she's got the hair on the sides. She's really thinning out in the front. Sort of like a Fraser Crane type thing going on. And I got a question. Now, you take it from the back and the sides. She's got these eyebrows are like caterpillars on her face. Can you think I'm sorry, this doesn't have to be Kathy. I couldn't keep it up any longer.
Dr. Bauman, while we're talking about women and hair transplants, I got a call from one of your colleagues about a week ago who was a little upset about a WebMD article that I wrote about what I believe, and what the American Hair Loss Association recommends as far as women and hair transplantation. For years I have been a little more conservative than I think a lot of the doctors as far as recommending hair transplantation for women. And I think you kind of know my stance. I think at one point we talked about this. I think you read something that was written that a quote of mine in Dr. Jeffrey Redmond's book about female hair transplantation. I'm starting to lean towards now with the newer technology and the fact that we're able to make, manage women's hair loss a little better. The percentage, I think, has grown slightly, but I still think it's a much smaller percentage of women who are actually candidates for surgical hair restoration.
Well, you're probably right, Spencer, but we've had some great success with some women. For example, Anushka, who's a local salon and spa owner here in Palm Beach County. We did a phenomenal FUE procedure using the neograft for her. I mean, she felt great enough to go to a trade show after 3 days, and she was absolutely thrilled with the procedure. She's been featured on the news, been featured in magazines with the transplant that she had. And she's turning into like a spokesperson for the process for women who are concerned about thinning hair. But here, I want to show you.
We have a woman who is a regular poster. She calls herself Tracy C. on baldtruthtalk.com, who had a traditional strip transplant with Dr. Robert Haber, who's an IHS member as well. She's thrilled. I mean, she cannot talk more highly about her experience with surgical hair restoration, but I still think that most women think, because of the way it's marketed, that they are, just as good a candidate as most men, when in fact less women make good candidates. Would you agree with that point?
True. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that also it depends on the surgeon, because if a surgeon's not using the finest or smallest equipment or the highest degree of magnification, then a lot of shock loss can occur, or is more likely to occur. But I want to show you Nalts' old scar tissue here. It's very difficult to see from a social distance. I'm going to try to show you the back of the scalp where we have not harvested anything yet today, and this is where he had his procedure.
Just for the name scar tissue of Nalts.
Scar of Nalts. But what I'm showing you is that in this area, it is, even with the hair cut all the way down to 0, it's very difficult from a social distance to see the areas that we harvested with a 0.8 millimeter neograft back in 2009, whatever that was.
Well, let's see if you guys can zoom in on that.
We're going to zoom in, and you'll see we have to get really, really close, and I actually have to turn the light a little bit to get those scars to light up where they're a little bit shinier. So we have to go really far in for you to be able to see it. I mean, closer than where you would normally be to Nalts any day of the week.
Especially when he farts.
Nice. On cue. Beautiful. Wow.
Oh, but I do have a question for Spencer.
Can you see the area that has been previously harvested? The difference? It's subtle, but it's
It is subtle. I mean, the one thing that I like to tell people is, a lot of people think they're going to be able to shave to the bone if they need to and then live their lives. Yeah, you probably can, but the truth is, if you decide to shave down to the bone and decide, you know what, you don't want any more hair implanted, this is not for you, that area is not going to tan. So if you get any sun on your scalp, you're going to have to keep that area covered.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So, the scar tissue here is very, very, very subtle. And again, Kevin doesn't keep his hair this short normally, but even if he did, even if the hair was only a few millimeters more in length, it would be very difficult for you to see what's been done back here. And even after the procedure that we do today, same thing.
Yeah, I don't think anybody gets that close to Nalts anyway. So, Cabby, you said you have a question. What's up?
Yeah, basically, I was a really big fan of the video that you and Nalts did a few years back, Partying in Public. Will there ever be a sequel to that?
I think there's another Spence, actually.
Wait, what was the question?
I got confused.
Yeah. That was the other Spence.
Spence is really grown up, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Spencer,
Yeah, I was about to say you're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
But anyway, I'm going to let somebody else call in, okay?
All right,
Love
man.
you,
Thanks,
Nalts.
Cabby.
Thanks a lot, Cabby.
Thank you.
That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, the Spencer from Farting in Public was in a variety of prank videos, and I haven't seen him in years. He lives in my town, and he's lost a bunch of weight, but I haven't seen him.
Now he runs a hair loss empire.
Now it's me. I went from 10 to 40, actually 46. Why can't I accept that, Andrew?
I'm grabbing onto my 20s with dear life.
When I go to New York and when we go out, I'm like, I'm looking at you and your wife. I'm like, holy cow! I mean, you're children.
Yeah, but you party hard.
How dare you?
Remember we had that woman that had a thing for me, and you got a little jealous.
Yeah, I was very,
the one that was melting.
I was very affected by that.
By the woman that looked like she was melting.
Yeah, she looked like her skin was falling off.
She wanted to fight. She wanted to fight my wife.
So I'm hearing a little feedback. I don't know if it's coming from their end.
I think so. Yeah.
Or what? But we're going to do about 20 more minutes, Dr. B. So I mean, what do you want? I mean, and what do you guys really want people to take away from this? Guys who are interested in surgical hair restoration.
I think he's talking. I think.
Are you asking me, Spencer?
I'm asking both of you guys.
Dr. B, the question is, what do you want people to take away from it? I guess if I'll jump in first is, yeah, hair. No, I think number one is this is minimally invasive, not painful. Number two, if you get a good hair transplant, if you're lucky enough to get to somebody like Dr. B or somebody skilled with really good staff, then it will be invisible and no one will ever know. And then step number three is, if your hair loss doesn't bother you, then you're fine. If it does bother you, then you've only got two choices: to live with that or to treat. And I chose the latter, and I don't feel any shame in it. How about you, Dr. B?
Hey, that's very well put. I think, the purpose of bringing the cameras into the OR on a day like today is to just demystify what we're doing here, that this is a procedure. It's not pluggy or painful. It works, it grows. Nalts is a testament to the process, and to really educate the vast majority of people out there worldwide who have no idea that transplanted hair grows, or that this process can be done in a way that leaves you with no visible linear scarring, that is an undetectable, natural-looking hairline, and is really not a big deal to undergo. I mean, that's the whole purpose of what we're doing today with the cameras here.
And can we see Nalts' wife one more time? I'm just kidding.
She's already skipped out to hit
we need to get some more viewers in here.
Spencer, I'm going to try to get the camera in to show you. We've made some approaches here around the follicles.
Oh, yeah.
And we're some of the follicles were left into the scalp, in the incisions that we have made. So we're extracting. It's a little bit more of a graphic shot there, but you'll see the follicles coming right out.
Yeah. So how many grafts are you going to get done today?
See, what's that?
How many grafts do you think you're going to be able to complete today? Transplant.
1,500. So we have a little bit more. We got to go back up to speed here with our process after we finish with the webcast. We're just going to wind things up in just a few more minutes. But thank everybody for watching and for seeing what we've done. We try to show a little bit of each part of the procedure, and we hope that the viewers got something out of it.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you letting us come into the OR. Nalts, as usual, you're a gentleman and a scholar, and just a very, very nice guy for allowing us to check out this, what most people would consider a pretty intimate process.
Well, I have to thank you too, because you're destigmatizing, treatment. You've spent a good chunk of your career, trying to help people get over their concerns and find solutions. So more power to you.
I appreciate that, man. I want to thank Andrew Zarian for pulling this whole thing together. As usual,
Well,
man, brilliant job.
Thank you, guys.
And let me give out, Dr. Bauman, give out your website before we turn off the cameras.
Anybody who is concerned about hair loss, I invite them to go to baumanmedical.com. That's BAUMAN medical, all one word, .com. And they can start the process right there. Just ask a question and fill out just some brief information so we can get back to you. We know how to contact you. And any questions of any type, we will answer about hair loss. And man or woman, any age, we will do our very best to help them, just like we're helping Nalts here, get the head of hair that he wants. And I'd just like to make a quick shout out to my family for putting up with me during these crazy days where we stay up late and do different things to get the process organized and done. And a thank you to my amazing staff. Everybody on hand has done above and beyond what the call of duty requires here to make this procedure and this kind of a day happen in the way that we have. So thank you to my awesome staff on the administrative side as well as the surgical side.
Well, listen, Nalts, good luck with everything. Let us know how things work out for you. Love to have you on the Bald Truth at some point whenever you're available. And if you're ever in LA, I'd love to have you in studio. And I'd like to check out the hair in person.
Good. I'll look forward to that. I will be in LA sometime early in 2012, so I'll look out.
Okay, absolutely. And guys, let me give out the websites. If you want to view this broadcast, you can obviously check it out. We're going to have it up on thebaldtruth.com. You can go to GFQ or guysfromqueens.com, right, Andrew?
Yes.
To check out the replay. Also, it's going to be replayed probably all over the internet, Ustream and iTunes and Stickam and wherever else. You're probably going to be able to, you're going to be putting this up on YouTube as well, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, and guys, if you want to tune in live to The Bald Truth, you can check us out every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 2-hour live broadcast every Sunday night. just as relaxed, if not more relaxed, because I'm usually drinking. So, grab something to drink, give us a call. We're here to talk about your concerns, talk about anything and everything hair loss. The website, thebaldtruth.com. Also, check us out live on gfqlive.tv. And we'll see you then. Thanks so much for joining us. And Andrew, thanks again, man.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'd like to thank all of my guests today. They did a swell job in showing us how easy it is so that we can really do it. If I can do it, they can do it, you can do it. But bye for now.